It's Survivor Series, the epitome of tag team competition, as WWR hosts Will and Brian captain Wrestling with the Realm podcast as they review 1990's Survivor Series. Welcome, Realm family, to another episode of Wrestling with the Realm podcast. I'm Brian, one half of the Power and Glory of Wrestling podcast, and on the other side, he is the Hercules to my Paul Roma, very apt for this podcast. He's my guy,
Yes.
Will. Will, what are we talking about?
Guys, we are doing the long anticipated Survivor Series 1990 retro rewatch. I feel like me and Brian have been cooking this thing up for about
Yeah,
6 months now, and we're finally getting to it.
yes,
And let me tell you guys, it is worth the wait. This is probably my favorite retro rewatch we have done
yes,
because it is so all over the place, this whole pay-per-view.
yes.
But at the same time, it's so well organized because I think my first thought of this whole pay-per-view is why don't we do Survivor Series like this every year?
You know what, Will? I was going to save that question to the end, and I am. But
Yeah,
I
we'll
like
save
that your mind is at the same place as mine. Or
it.
same place as where I'm at. I was even
Yeah,
asking little Yoko because he said he watched some of it with you. So I was asking him the same kind of questions.
good.
So
Yeah,
yeah, I was thinking the same thing as you.
it felt chaotic, but also well organized at the same
Yeah.
time. And that was probably my favorite part of this pay-per-view, along with the fact that we get this very like cinematic opening from our pal Vince McMahon. And the fact that we have so many, like, we have one, two, three, four, five matches, including the
The
final
final match
match.
of survival. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's 10 different team names that he had to come up with all by himself. I found that to be absolute money,
Team
along with,
captains, Hulk Hogan and the Earthquake. It's like great. It's a great opening. It's money.
yeah, it is. It is. Yeah. Well, so let's get into our first match, and we have the Ultimate Warriors versus the Perfect Team.
Hmm.
Why
Yep.
is Fuji with Demolition?
So Fuji started with Demolition, and then Fuji broke apart from Demolition. Then Fuji was back with Demolition. Yeah, they went through a whole bunch. Yeah, there was a lot of back and forth with Fuji and Demolition.
Okay, so that answers that question for me. I
Hmm.
also have a thought that Hawk said something in a promo before the match, and he is asked something by Mean Gene, and he says that he has no thoughts on, on anything, and he's just ready to go out there and smash.
Uh,
So that's just the type of stuff you get with this era of wrestling that I love. Also in this match, we have a quadruple elimination at the same time.
yes.
People out of the match at the same time. I think that's perfect for this era of wrestling. I will say this pay-per-view is very count out heavy, and I'm not
Yeah,
sure I love that, but when you have so many elimination,
that's the thing.
like
Yeah.
you're gonna have stuff like that. And then I have a note that says Warrior and Hulk Hogan are the same person. Just space, space. Because Ultimate Warrior wins this match by hulking up,
Yep.
and it looks exactly like Hulk Hogan. Brian, what are your thoughts
Oh,
on this match?
man, okay. So right off the bat, I gotta say Survivor Series 1990, like this is in one hell of a year for WWF at the time. Like there was great storylines going on. You get out of WrestleMania 6 and we're going towards WrestleMania 7, and it's just so many great stories. You have Warrior, who's the new champion. You have Hogan, who has his feud with Earthquake. You got Rick Martel and Jake the Snake. You have so much good stuff going. Like this one is just like uh chicken soup for the soul for me. Like it just brings me back to being a kid because I love it so much. Um, but when you start out right away, we have the perfect team and we have the Warriors. Now, here's why this is genius, Will. So on the Warriors, we have the Ultimate Warrior, then we have Road Warrior Hawk and Road Warrior Animal, and we have Texas Tornado Kerry Von Erich, whose old name was the Modern Day Warrior. So you literally have a team
Funny.
of warriors. So I think that that's a nice little thing.
That's cash.
Um, Bobby the Brain already in this match, like dude
Oh
earns
my
his
gosh.
check right away. I know you love seeing Bobby the Brain, and
He's
right away,
everything.
first match of the night, I'm like, oh, Will's gonna be so happy because Bobby's out there already working. Uh, so the promo beforehand, I have my notes. We have the Warriors promo. And those guys, they're all crazy. The Warriors crazy doing it because we are the
Yeah.
Warriors. And then you have, Animal and Hawk, well, and then Hawk goes into his thing. So the Warriors promo is going on, and Danny is sitting there on the couch, and she just goes, Jesus Christ, this guy. Because like then then she hears Hawk and she looks up and she just goes, "Oh, what a shock." It puts her head back out like everything is making sense for her
Yeah.
because it's so crazy with the Warrior and his team. And then when they're doing the entrances and the Warriors music hits, Danny does perk up for that because she loves Ultimate Warrior and she loves his entrance. Um, and that's about the match for that. Like you're not wrong that it turns into Hogan and Ultimate Warrior are not dissimilar, but it's interesting that in this pay-per-view specifically, we're starting to see that Warrior is not drawing as a champion the way that Hogan was. And they're already starting to course correct in this pay-per-view. So, is one of the great things about this pay-per-view is that you have so many different storylines going on that are being told within each match. And then you have bigger stories that are going on behind the scenes where you're trying to work Warrior out of that championship and move it on to Sergeant Slaughter so you can go forward with him and Hogan. And you see them starting to, you start seeing the gears starting to work here in this pay per view, which makes it a lot of fun too. And um, Danny loved Piper on commentary. We
Oh
shouldn't
my gosh.
mention that
Yeah.
we have Piper and Gorilla Monsoon on commentary. I know Piper can be over the top at times and he can be too much, but at the same time, he's making it a lot of fun. And just little things like Danny loved and laughed when he calls Bobby the Brain a boob during the match.
Yeah.
Just little things like that where I go, he's
Oh my God.
constantly trying to keep it fun and that it makes it makes it enjoyable because he's adding another element. It's odd because he really works as a face commentator and so does
Yeah.
Gorilla. So it's a different dynamic than when it's Gorilla and Bobby, but I think that it still works. I don't think that it's bad at all. I think Piper gives just the right amount to this pay-per-view. Um, but yeah, you're right. We get a big win by the Warriors, and as we mentioned, this Survivor Series is the first one ever to have that added match at the end, the grand finale match of Survival, where all the survivors face each other. But of course, Warrior must pose, just like Hogan, and we have to have his match go first because we gotta give that motherfucker enough time to rest before the end of the show. So there's that
Yeah.
too. What do we got next, Will?
We have the $1 million team versus the dream team. And it's so funny that you mentioned Piper on commentary because I have a note that I don't know why it just made me giggle a little bit, but he called Virgil a stooge on his way out to the ring, and
Stooge.
that made me chuckle a little bit. I think more importantly, we have the debut of The Undertaker in
Amazing.
this match, and from the very beginning, it is just like the presentation is on point, and I think it's so cool. You look back, and I think when I was watching WrestleMania 40. and you get to the Cody finishing his story,
Hmm.
and everyone was kind of disappointed Stone Cold didn't come out and save Cody from The Rock. But it kind of makes sense that Taker's the one that does it because in this match, you have Taker kind of go off later in the match and
Yes.
go after Dusty, and that's like Taker's debut in the WWE. So I just thought that that was kind of a cool, 360 moment in professional wrestling. So to come back and watch
Yep.
something from 1990 and it relates all the way to 2024 is, crazy stuff. I thought that was cool. I have a note that says Coco and Dusty on the same team almost makes up for me watching Bret Hart.
Man, I am not going to give any shade to Brett in this match whatsoever. Quite the contrary. So he's safe from me.
No, he does his thing in this match. I'm just not the biggest Bret Hart
Yep.
fan. And I thought it was a shame that
Love
Coco
Coco
was
and
in,
Dusty.
yeah, Coco was in this match for all of like 1 minute. He gets squashed by The Undertaker. And I thought it was cool that they put so much like I don't know. You would have to tell me because I don't know what the build up was to The Undertaker's debut. Did they just like throw him out? Yeah.
So no, they weren't building up like, oh, there's this Undertaker who's coming. We didn't know who it was. All they did is build up that the Million Dollar Man had this mystery partner, and it was going to be a big deal with this mystery partner on his team. Um, because what this show does really well, and I'm probably going to say it for every match and again at the end, um, is how well they're able to tell these stories and using this Survivor Series format perfectly. Like when you are telling your story over the course of a year, we talk about it all the time. Back when we had the four big pay-per-views, you had Mania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, and Royal Rumble. You would tell your stories over the course of those four pay-per-views. So Survivor Series gave you a nice opportunity right in the middle of your story to continue all the little stories that you're telling without having to have a big blow off and somebody worrying about not going over. That's why we get so many count outs and eliminations without
Yeah.
finishers. One, you got to move through the card, but two, you try to protect certain guys, but at the same time, you're just telling those stories. It's just another chapter in the story. And in this particular match, you have Million Dollar Man and you have Dusty who have been working their program as team captains. So you're going into Survivor Series with that. We have Sweet Sapphire. Sapphire, where you at, baby? Hacksaw Jim Duggan, where's Sapphire? Oh, well, gee, Dusty, I don't know where she went. Oh, like Jim Duggan, we just talked about you on overrated, underrated. You're not helping yourself in this one. We'll get to it.
No.
You probably got the same notes as I do about him. Uh,
No, very yes.
but then you take the Hart Foundation and you throw them in with Rhythm and Blues because you have that tag division at that time. I have a note about that. Everybody hates Rhythm and Blues. They are over as heels. People hate them, and rightfully so. Honky Tonk is such a great heel. He's awesome. Um, but building up to it, though, yeah, there was no Undertaker that we were getting vignettes for. This was a complete and total shock when he came out. And I remember being a kid and being awestruck and looking like some of the people in the crowd because this guy was just you. It was like you've never seen somebody as tall and as agile and athletic and move the way that he did, and just the whole character and the dead man zombie persona is just so perfect here. It's such a great introduction. It's legendary. It's a piece of history. And I think this match works with his introduction, like you said, and having Dusty get pulled away and Brother Love being involved in it. You have so many different components working together to make this match tell a story in and of itself, which is always the good mark of a good match or the tell of a good match. And this one has it. What else do you got on this one? Well, I'm curious if you have anything else towards the end.
I have one more note on this match, and I think it is the beginning of Ted DiBiase being the MVP of this pay-per-view. Like
Yep.
all night from when he introduces The Undertaker to
Yep.
his performance in the last match, in this match as well. Like he's good in ring, he's good on the mic, he's good in his backstage vignettes. Like he
Yes.
doesn't miss. And I think as I continue to watch these retro rewatches, I'm agree with you more and more because he came up on overrated and underrated. I just didn't
Yeah.
know enough about him. He is probably one of the most underrated wrestlers of all time. And the fact that he never like got a, long run or a run with the world title is criminal.
It is. Yeah.
It is. And we'll get to that, later in the pay-per-view. I'm a big fan of Ted DiBiase because of these retro rewatches. So that's
Yes.
fun out.
Yeah. I got a couple of things left for this match. I have a note that says, I spy with my little eye Shane O'Mac outside the ring as a referee for this match. Shane O is
Oh,
out there.
really? I didn't
A
notice
very
that.
young Shane O'Mac is outside the ring. Um,
Interesting.
I love Brett does a lot of his classic moves in this match, but it's a really good showcase. When it gets whittled down to Bret Hart and Ted DiBiase,
Yes.
this makes this probably the match of the night. There's one
Oh,
that could rival it coming up, but this is a strong contender for match of the night. And you could see that Brett has it, that he can tell a story in the ring one on one. And he and Ted, boy, I have a ton of notes about DiBiase here that the way that he sells, he's great in this. And when you get down to he and Brett, those two are just working some magic in the ring and doing a great job. Um, Brett gets his, running sternum first into the turnbuckle, and it looks great because they get a great camera angle where you see him coming towards the camera when he hits the turnbuckle. He does his I hurt my knee spot. Uh, he sells the loss at the end when he gets rolled up by DiBiase and he loses. He pops right up and just he really sells it. Brett does a great job in this match. Ted DiBiase is great. This could be match of the night, but there's one that could rival it.
yeah, let's move on to our next match. As long as you don't have any other notes on that
Nope,
match.
my next note coming up is that Vipers promo from the showers.
I was gonna say we had to, that was a note I had.
Yeah,
We
it's my
had the
guy, Will.
Visionary versus the Vipers, and it wasn't necessarily on the promo. It was that we had a shower promo.
Yep.
That's just some of the weird stuff that you do not see anymore. Like that was so
Nope.
odd. I was like, man, Jake's really talking his right now, but he's in the shower
Get it?
with
Because he's got a snake, a reptile, so it needs to be moist.
I I get it, but it
Yep.
just threw me off a little bit.
But
I'm
Jake
not
makes
gonna
it work.
He does.
That's how great this dude is that
He
he
doesn't miss.
it's almost unbelievable. Like we talk all the time, especially in a day and age, especially as of today, CM Punk and Roman Reigns cutting promos, Cody cutting, shooting promos. Hmm. We'll get into that on a future show. But when we talk about like CM Punk cutting his promos and how great he is, when you go back and you see some of this stuff with Jake the Snake, go back to this promo, guys. If we'll go back and watch this whole pay-per-view, but Jake's promo, he is so good, and this shows how he is one of the greatest of all times. It's never over the top warrior. It's always just it's got a little bit of a whisper, and then you crank it up just a little bit, and you bring it back down. It's almost Macho Man, but it's much more like Stone Cold calculated,
Mm,
and he just doesn't miss with this stuff. Like he's got so it's Jake the Snake, it's the Rockers, Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty, and it's Superfly Jimmy Snuka. And he's able to go through each person on that team and sell you on it about being a survivor. He talks about, Superfly. Look, this man's got the scars written all over his face. How he stood the test of time. It's so good. Jake has the contact in because his eye is uh lost all of its pigment, which that's silly, but we love it. Because going into the story for this Will is one of my favorite stories that they've ever done is Rick the Model Martel and Jake the Snake. Rick the Model Martel has his cologne arrogance and a big atomizer, uh, and he sprays it in Jake the Snake's face and he blinds him. And we're telling this story going all the way through the WrestleMania. So this is just one more chapter in that story with the visionaries. See, Rick Martel's team is the Visionaries because they can see. Um, in Jake's team, the Vipers. Uh, but Jake sells this story before the match even starts. He's giving you a big chunk of this story with him and Rick Martel, and it's awesome. It's dynamite.
Yeah, I liked how he did sell us on his team being survivors, and then they caught the meanest sweep of all time in this match. I thought that I was not expecting that when you see the names on that list and on
Yeah.
that, like you got HBK, you got Superfly and Jake the Snake.
Yep.
Guess Marty Jannetty too. But they get sweeped in this match. And I guess it kind of just, you were talking about the show's like pacing. This is not a long show because they do stuff like this.
Yeah.
And they also do a good job of protecting Jake the Snake by counting him out in this match. So I
Yep.
thought that was good. I think that Shawn Michaels, you could see the signs of legendary even in his tag matches like this, like his
Yes.
selling on point. He's just one of the greatest sellers of all time. And he makes the guys on the other side look phenomenal constantly in this match and in all the other retro rewatches that we watch. So I'm always impressed with even a young Shawn Michaels. So
Yeah.
and I'm also a fan of Jake the Snake. He's always so good in ring. I feel like we always talk about his mic work. In ring, he's also really solid. And I think he's one of the greatest in-ring storytellers of all time.
Absolutely.
I feel like I watch him and I see a lot of like Randy Orton in his
Yes.
in his promo skills. Like you talk about the speeding up and then the
Yes.
slowing down. And even in ring, the cadences are very similar between those two.
It's
So that,
real short, compact movements a lot of time,
yes.
like not a lot of wasted movement. Even the
Mhm.
RKO and the DDT, Jake would do that same thing where sometimes he would just catch you and hit it out of nowhere. And it was
Yeah.
always so, I mean, the DDT is over. It is every match, and it is this match too. Just like the RKO. You're so right that there's such a comparison with those two.
Yeah, there is. And I just enjoy. So this match gets a thumbs up from me, even though I wasn't a fan that they got swept because you got some of my favorites on that team. But it was hard to cheer for them when you got power and glory on the other side. And you want to know what? This is the first time I saw their finish.
It's
It is
awesome.
money.
Awesome.
Money.
The Powerplex is awesome.
I did not know ball like that. I guess this was my first time watching a like full power and glory match because we
Yes.
like we talk about them. We're the Hercules and Paul Roma of the podcast
That's
game.
right.
But you you didn't like I didn't see the vision that you were talking about. These guys are good in the ring.
It's so weird because even as a kid, I love the Rockers. The Rockers were like my team. I've talked about it before at recess. We were the Rockers, man. When we're on the handlebars going to the top rope, dropping an elbow or something, me and Ryan Casperson, man, we were the Rockers. But like Marty Jannetty in this specifically, I had to make a note that it's a shame that he has all of his demons because he is so good. Marty Jannetty is so good. And then Sean just ups that. Like those two guys are such stars. and make everybody else look so good. And then when you get to our boys Power and Glory, I loved Power and Glory as a kid. I was like, these guys are a great heel tag team, and then they just kind of fizzled out. But I always loved them because they had that um classic, like, one's the power guy and the other guy is going to be the, speedier agility guy. It was great. I love Power and Glory, and the Powerplex is awesome. And you've pointed this out on a previous retro rewatch. Hercules is equal to LA Knight. LA Knight and Herc are so
Yeah.
similar, man. And that's no knock on anybody. I think that that's awesome. I'd love to know from LA Knight if that's intentional, if he does take a lot of that stuff from Hercules, but there's a few things where he almost does them uh exactly how Hercules does it. Like
Yeah.
the way that he hits the turnbuckle, like there's a bunch of stuff where I go, man, I see so much LA Knight now, which I kind of love going back and watching this and being able to see a lot of our guys now and some of these older guys is really cool. I love Power and Glory. Jake looks strong throughout this whole match. We know that he only has one eye, and you got Gorilla Monsoon and Piper are doing their job selling that. Martel is still scared of Jake the Snake. He doesn't want anything to do with them, and they do such a really cool job having it be Jake against everybody, and now he's almost like a snake backed into a corner where you go, ooh, he seems more dangerous now than he did when the match started.
Yeah.
Um, and that's such a cool thing, and it's such a credit to Jake Roberts and Rick Martel too, because he does such a great job selling as a heel. I love this match. It's so hard between this one and the last match. Which one is match of the night? I'm gonna have to think about it as we keep going.
Yeah, I know it is a tough one because I did really enjoy this match. I would say that this is probably our next match, the Hulkamaniacs versus the Natural Disasters, is probably, I don't know, it's hard to say it's my least favorite match of the night because obviously you have the Quake in this match. And I think it's only right that we just, hit a little Quake shake for him
Oh,
because it feels good because it's
it
been a
does.
long time since we
Oh,
talked about some earthquake.
oh man, we love us some Quake.
And I didn't feel like it was Quake's strongest performance, but I also felt like we didn't get enough of them in this match.
No.
I felt like it was so built up that this match was Hogan versus Quake, and it kind of just felt like everyone, at least I did. It's hard to say watching this
Yeah.
in 90 that people felt this way. I just felt like I knew that Hogan was going to advance to the final match. And
We'll take it from a kid who was there, Will. That 9-year-old me is like, yeah, I know Hogan was going to win this, but it was just like, but how? It's Earthquake, but it does suck when you know going into it that he's winning.
yeah, I know. And I I did have a few notes on this match, and I feel like Hacksaw Jim Duggan just absolutely
Thank you.
makes me look like a fool in our last overrated and underrated. First of all, why does he have bows on his 2x4?
Oh,
That
well,
was,
because this was, I forgot, you're too young for that, Will. We had when Saddam Hussein went into Kuwait, we had Operation Desert Shield, where we went in to protect Kuwait from Iraq. So it was not a full-blown war yet. Again, this is a story that gets developed further with Sergeant Slaughter going into
yeah, that was
WrestleMania 7
crazy.
when it does turn into a whole war, which changed a lot of things. But as of right now, yellow ribbons were a big sign at the time for supporting the troops. So,
Okay, me. Yeah, my bad. Jim Duggan. Yeah, me, my bad. I'm not gonna hate. But
okay, but then explain this though. Explain why Hacksaw Jim Duggan brings his 2x4 in, uses it, gets disqualified, which he should because he just did some heel by bringing in a foreign object and using it as a weapon, and then is looking around like, "Oh, gee whiz, what happened? What am I doing? Why am I disqualified?" Well, you're
Yeah,
disqualified because you took a two by four and somebody with it, dude.
I
That's
know.
what the heels do. So that's so weird. It's so weird to me when especially back here, when we have our good guys, when we have our face characters do heel things. It always is weird. I'm so glad that we have evolved to the point where there's nuance to things. Where at the time, he's a good guy, so we cheer it. But if Demolition Smash would have done that, we'd be booing. I don't like that.
Yeah. That
Different
that's
time.
about that's about all I got on this match. I do like Jimmy Hart in this match, and he's kind of the person that really baited Hacksaw into getting eliminated. You
Yes.
the two by four. I love him, and you have the brain together on the outside during this match. I wrote down, I don't remember the exact moment, but I do remember Bobby the Brain takes some bumps in this pay-per-view.
Absolutely.
I didn't know he was because this is kind of, foreign to me. I didn't know he got in it like that.
Oh yeah.
Here he takes one from Warrior, and I
Oh,
don't know what made me write down this note during this match, but I'm sure we can throw it in there. Bobby the Brain does take some bumps in
he
this paper,
does.
and
He's the
I'm
goat.
a fan of that. I am a fan of that. So, do you have any other notes on this match, Brian?
I just have a couple that stood out to me that were kind of funny. Um, I have Hogan with a small package for a 1, 2, 3. So nice. Hogan doing something that we normally don't see him do. When is the last time you ever saw him roll somebody up like that in a
Yeah,
small package? You just don't see it. So that was kind of nice. Um, and then at the end of the match, it's between Hogan and Barbarian. And I'm like, oh, geez. Well, we know Barb doesn't stand a chance. But it's nice that he got some one-on-one time with Hogan. But I have a note that says, Barb's pile driver on Hogan, safest pile driver he's ever
oh
given in his
yeah,
entire
I
life.
remember that.
Like I just it made me chuckle because I'm like he got nowhere close to it, and I think even Piper and Gorilla are like, oh geez, he didn't get all of it, but he got his
Yeah,
shoulders. That's what was important. I was like, no, he was like, I can't hurt Hogan because I know this dude will lie on me like he does in the
yeah,
future to Undertaker. I wrote that too. Too bad Barb can't do a promo because he can work, you know?
yeah. I've always liked Barbarian in the ring when I'm watching him in the retro rewatches, but
Yes.
I'm assuming from what you're saying, he does
No.
not cut a promo.
No, and that's why he always has to have a manager. Even at my notes towards the end, I love this because I love how you think now. I got Bobby taking bumps always gets a pop from the crowd.
Yeah,
Always. When Bobby gets in there, it's always great. And this is something just for you and me that'll make us laugh. Hogan with the Jade Cargill Hulk up.
dude. Yeah, Ultimate Cargill, Hulk Hogan, Ultimate
Oh my
Warrior,
God.
all in the same,
Jade
really.
Hogan.
Dude, for
Hulk
real.
Cargill. Yeah.
All of the same. People are gonna hate that we say stuff like that, but guys, I'm sorry. Jay Cargill is not it, and we are cheering heavy for a reset for
Yes.
Rhea Ripley to win at WrestleMania. So
She's got heavy lifting. Rhea has heavy lifting to do in this match. And hopefully we will get proven wrong. Um,
yes, take us into our next match. Let me
the
just pull.
Alliance versus the Mercenaries.
Yeah, the Alliance versus the Mercenaries. And first of all, there's two big takeaways I want to have from this match. First of all, the Sergeant Slaughter character is absolutely diabolical. He is in a promo before the match, which by the way,
Uh-huh.
they have Piper said about a million times before the match that the broadcast is going to be sent to
Yep.
the US soldiers, and they're watching it live right now. And Sergeant Slaughter is flexing on them that he had a Thanksgiving dinner with turkey and all the fixins,
All the fixings.
and that they are going to be eating absolute for dinner. And they don't get Thanksgiving dinner. And I'm like, dude, this dude's absolutely diabolical for that. My other note for this match is I feel like if I was around in the 90s, I would have been a Tito Santana fan because he has a great work rate.
Yes.
He is not as strong and as loud on the mic as a Warrior or a Hogan, and
Yep.
you see that in their pre-match promo after this match. And I feel like he gets overshined by those guys, but in a match like this, he really does stand out.
Yes.
I am a fan of Tito Santana. Those are my two notes on this match because it's not, I mean, it's not much of a match. It's okay in the ring. I don't know if I love or I hate the Bushwhackers. They feel like the tag team version of Hacksaw Jim Duggan. So it's one of those things. If you told me overrated or underrated, I probably would go back and forth on it. But Brian, what are your thoughts on this match?
I actually have a Bushwhacker note too, man. Dude, the Bushwhackers were over.
They
People
were.
love the Bushwhackers. Bushwhackers were over. The battering ram is an awesome finisher that they have. I love it.
Hmm.
That is so awesome. Uh, I would be remiss if I didn't mention Tito. I said that I got a note saying that Tito was working, man. Like
Yeah,
he is no joke. Um, he is putting in some work and he's trying to sell as much as he can, and it's awesome. Um, Slaughter. So I mentioned it earlier. They want to get the belt off of Ultimate Warrior, get it on Sergeant Slaughter, go into WrestleMania with Hogan and Slaughter and do this Iraqi sympathizer gimmick that, we've talked about before. If you guys don't know about it, you guys go look it up, watch a YouTube video about it because it's fascinating. They have to make Slaughter look strong throughout this thing and get him over as a heel. And I think they kind of do that. I
they do.
mean, given the limitations that Sarge has, which is no knock on Sarge, it's just the way that he works. I mean, some people work a certain way. His move set is a certain set of moves. His job is to be a heel and get that heat, which he does. But I think they also do a great job of getting him over as being strong. He gets some big eliminations in this match. Um, and he just looks like he's a monster heel and people hate him. And he's doing his job. Uh, I think it's awesome that Tito gets to move on, which is kind of a surprise. So if anything, um, you know, there's a little surprise in this. If none of the other matches had an outcome that shocked you, maybe this one did. I'm sure you were not thinking Tito was going to be the sole survivor of this match,
No,
Will. You
no, I
know,
was.
so they accomplished that. Um, yeah, then we get into the Shockmaster moment of the night, the
Wow.
Gobbledy Gooker.
This is more Shockmaster than the Shockmaster.
It is. It's like there needs to be something more than Shockmaster moment. Like we will give Jey Uso a Shockmaster moment. You know what I mean? Every once in a while, Shockmaster moment will get the best of us. But I feel like a Gobbledy Gooker moment is like reserved for like Ricochet, just being Ricochet, where you go, that's even above and beyond, man.
Yeah.
You Gobbledygooker status.
Gobbledygooker is probably the craziest thing I for a second forgot I was watching a pay-per-view because I see Mean Gene and a turkey in the ring dancing together. It's like the weirdest segment of all time because it goes on for all of 2 minutes and then you cut to the back.
They just needed to buy a little time, get Tito a rest before the final match of Survival. Yeah.
Yeah, that is certainly one way to do it. Yeah.
Uh, all right, Will. So take us into this final match of Survival.
I am a big fan of the concept of the final match of survival.
Yes.
I don't know if we could get away with it in today's wrestling, considering that everything is so title sentimented and you are always looking for a number one contender if you're looking for a final survivor or something
Yeah.
like that. But I do love this idea of this match. And you have on one side Hulk Hogan, the Ultimate Warrior, and Tito Santana. You have DiBiase on the other side, Rick Martel, Warlord, Hercules, and Paul Roma,
Hell
which
yeah.
anytime we get Power and Glory more than once on a pay-per-view, it's money. And this match is kind of hyped up as the heels have five and the faces only have three. And let me tell you, this is not a long match. This
No.
match is all of 9 minutes long. And I was like watching it on YouTube because they released this on the vault. And
Yep.
I look and I'm like, oh, there's only 9 minutes left. Yeah, this match is quick work. And that is because you have the two most over baby faces on the same team, and they both have superpowers, it feels like. Because I'd be
Yes.
damned if Hulk Hogan kicked out a Power and Glory's finisher, got up and clotheslined one of them and eliminated them.
Off, Will. Me off. I have that note. Powerplex is an awesome finisher. Screwed by Hogan.
Just
They
buried the
hit
finisher.
like thank you for noticing that and taking note of it because they set it up so great in the match before and Hogan just gets to kill that finisher. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, it breaks my heart for Power and Glory because it's that kind of stuff that's not going to help you get a push. Thanks a lot, Hogan.
Yeah. But outside of that, this match is probably the most fun I had watching the whole pay-per-view because it's just another Ted DiBiase masterclass.
Yes.
And he is by far the MVP of this whole pay-per-view because although he does take the pinfall and his team loses, I still feel like he looks strong and smart throughout the whole
Yes.
pay-per-view. And although Hogan pins him and then he comes in and he takes out Herc and then tags in Warrior and you get the splash, I think everyone knew that was going to happen.
Hmm.
So for him to still have such a like lasting impact on it, and I think it's something you can only like understand if you go back, watch this whole pay-per-view and realize that like man, Ted DiBiase is really one of one. His in-ring work in this match is good.
Yep.
And, I could sit here all night and talk about Ted DiBiase because he is that good in this pay-per-view. Do you have any notes in this match? Any
I mean,
strong
it's
thoughts?
funny that you talk about DiBiase because I have those same notes, and I love going back on these retro rewatches and seeing you take some of the same notes that I am because you're
Yeah.
seeing a lot of these for the very first time, and you're getting to see it with a more advanced, educated brain to the business than the
Yeah.
first time I saw it when I was a kid. So it's so interesting to get your take on it. Like about Ted DiBiase, I had to write a note that I said I love that Ted and Tito Santana get to do some work in this match because it's great. Like once again, it sucks that uh Tito didn't get much more of a push in singles competition because he can work. And when you see him and Ted together, like it's not much. I'll give you that because it's a fast match. Um, but just how they set up Tito Santana and that flying forearm that he does, and then when he and Ted are in there, Tito gets him set up perfect for it, and at the last second, DiBiase ducks down and misses the forearm. And I go,
Yeah.
that's little pieces of storytelling that two guys who can actually work can do, and it stands out. It stands out in a match that has the likes of Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior in it, and you're managing to stand out. So kudos to DiBiase and Tito. Um, there is no real surprise at the end of this how this is going to play out. Uh, but it's still fun at the end of the day. I think having that ultimate match of survival, I have an idea here at the end when we get into our final thoughts going forward with maybe something we can do in the future for Survivor Series. I just came up with it when you were just talking about what we do a couple matches ago. You were saying about the idea of the final survivor getting a title shot or something like that. Um, I have an idea, but before we get into that, so Will, over on Realm on Film podcast, if you guys haven't checked that out, go check that out now. We got the link down below. It's me, Rich, and Rob from the Paranormal Podcast. We're doing movie reviews now. We talk about Sinners. It's a great review. Thanks everybody who has already listened to that. We appreciate it. Um, but over there, when we rank our movies, the way that we rank them at the end is we either give a thumb up or a thumb down, and then if we would watch the movie again. Because sometimes, you can watch a really, really good movie, but you really don't need to watch it again. And other
Yeah.
times, you can watch a piece of like Jason Takes Manhattan and know that it sucks and give it a thumbs down and watch the hell out of that thing, which clearly I'm showing my card, which I do. So I think henceforth on Wrestling with the Realm, when we do our rankings at the end of pay-per-views, I think we should adopt the Realm on Film thumbs up or thumbs down, and if we'd watch it again. What do you think, Will?
I agree with you. Totally, 100%. Let's adopt that.
All right, take us away, Will. I'll let you go first.
I would have to give this pay-per-view two big thumbs up for both categories. It is a great first watch as you are watching it, and it's one of the all-time classic Survivor Series. And I'd even take it a step further and say that this pay-per-view is an all-time classic Big Four pay-per-view. And it's definitely up there, one of the greatest Survivor Series of all time, just because you have so many iconic moments. You remember this from Hogan and Warrior standing tall together, or Undertaker's debut match, or even the Gobbledy Gooker, if that's what you want to remember this pay per view for. There's so many iconic moments that you have from this pay per view that it has to be two thumbs up. Brian, where are you going with it?
I'm with you, Will. Two big thumbs up. Um, I watched this for this review. I've watched it numerous times over the years. I'm watching it right now while we're doing this review. So I'm definitely going to watch it again. This thing is iconic. I think there's a lot of good matches. There's a lot of good stories being told. I think anybody could pick this up, watch it, and understand the storylines that are going on just
Yes.
watching through each individual match. And I think that is a testament to how great this thing is booked out and what a great job they're doing with some of their main storylines throughout the course of this year. I think this thing is great. It's a lot of fun. You can't go wrong. Which brings us to the question that we were asking at the beginning of the show, Will. Do you think it's time to take away the War Games aspect of Survivor Series and just go back to straight 4-on-4 classic Survivor Series style matches?
Ooh, that's a tough one for me because I am a fan of Survivor Series war games. But at this time, it feels like it's lost a little bit of its luster for me. It's been kind of the same match on a replay, and it's really hard to make these matches not seem like the same match you watched last year's. So it's tough. I think about like the legendary moments in those matches, though. You have some great moments like the RKO off the top with JD
Yeah.
McDonough getting thrown down, and you have Io Sky, the War Games
Yep.
MVP, as we talked about before. It's tough for me, but you want to know what? I felt like this pay per view was so well organized. I feel like you could combine both of these matches or types of styles of pay per views, where that last match could be a War Games type scenario. Or you could really do it like it's War Games is almost like a Hell in a Cell, where it only gets brought out when you have a
Yeah.
Judgment Day versus all the baby faces scenario, or you have a Bloodline versus McIntyre and Sheamus and the Brawling Brutes, like that type of scenario where the feud is so heated that it does need war games. Like sometimes it feels like we're just doing war games for the sake of war games. And if you feel like that's the case, why not have some matches like this where the whole card is Survivor Series and we're working towards the final Survivor match? And I don't know. The tough part for me is wrestling fans are so like, well, if he's, what does he win if he's the final survivor, if she's the final survivor? I don't know. That's tough because it comes at a point where the Royal Rumble's right around the corner and it's tough to give out like a number one contendership versus like, I feel like almost back in the day, it was just like a cool moment where, I don't know, fans were not as marky as they are
Yeah.
now. And they're always seeking what's next. So I don't know if that makes sense, but that's kind of my thought on it. I definitely enjoyed watching this and it was very refreshing. So what were your thoughts and where do you think WWE could go with the Survivor Series concept?
So, because I have such nostalgia for this old school style, I love it because it gives you a chance to tell little chapters of the bigger story that you're telling. Um, and I think it gives you a chance to do that without having to progress the story too much. Like we're just getting a little taste of it, of what's going on. I think it would be a lot of fun if, imagine leading up to Survivor Series, you have uh, Nia Jax and Lash Legend are tag team champions, and uh, they team up with the Kabuki Warriors versus Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, and Bayley and Lyra Valkyria. Now you're telling a story for that women's tag team championship with all of them
Yeah.
in that match. I feel like it gives you a chance to have your team captains usually are telling the big story, like one of your A storylines throughout the year, but then you get the mid card and the lower card guys that get to fill in there, get on the show, and help tell a little bit of that story. I think that works, and I think maybe what they could do, Will, and maybe this is a bad idea, you guys let us know. If you took 2 night Survivor Series, it's two
Mm,
nights. Night one, it's all classic 4-on-4 matches. Whoever wins in their match, they go on to night two into the war games. So night two is just women's war games and men's war games. So if you have um, Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss are the only two people left, they would go on to night two, and they're two of the entrants
I like
in
that.
women's war games. You know, you'd have to work out some of the beats, but you get the general idea where I feel like you can find a way to put both of these concepts together to make it more of a storytelling pay-per-view and getting that outcome where you get somebody who's getting that other title match for WrestleMania. I think that's why Survivor Series is so great. I think that's why this pay-per-view in particular is so great because it makes you look at the show that way, where you go, wow, this thing has such potential and it's such a cool idea. Um, I love that it's always at Thanksgiving. I think it's time to go
Yeah.
back, bring back some of these 4-on-4 matches and incorporate war games in a different way. Go ahead and do it Triple H or TKO or whoever, whatever is going on right now, but we won't get into it, Will.
No, but we will get into all of that, Brian, very soon. We will get into some leadership debacles potentially. So we will touch base on all of that.
Yeah.
We are overdue to do that. We are also overdue to probably give you guys our official WrestleMania predictions. I know we did what we thought was going to happen, but we also have the official cards
Yep.
fully listed. Man, Brian, we do live in a society where I Show Speed is going to be wrestling at WrestleMania. It is certainly a time to live in. But we will get into all of that when we talk about
Oh
the
boy.
TKO and celebrity appearances in wrestling. I just think it's
Yep.
so crazy that that's happening. But yeah, we will get into all of that soon. Brian, do you have anything else for the people?
Yeah, everybody go over, check out the Realm Paranormal podcast. We got a little bit of a rebrand going on. You can see the new logo somewhere. Uh, we are the Realm Paranormal Detectives podcast. That's the investigative wing of the show is the Realm Paranormal Detectives. We're making it simple. TRPD podcast, Realm Paranormal Detectives podcast. Go over, check us out for all your paranormal goodness. We recently have Wheel of Conspiracies, a lot of fun. Um, also, have everybody, I talked about it a little bit earlier, but I'll mention it again. We have
Yeah.
Realm on Film podcast. Now we got the movie review side. Everybody go over, click the link down below. Go check out our review of Sinners. It was a lot of fun. I will say that the movie review podcast, that one is a have to be over 18 to click and listen to that one. But good news for all of our family friendly fans that are listening to the Wrestling with the Realm podcast. If you go to the Realm on Film channel, all of the shorts, those are all family friendly. You guys can still get kind of all of our takes on the movies that we're reviewing. So we're kind of giving a little bit of something for everybody. And most importantly, if you want to get a hold of us over here on the wrestling side, the paranormal side, or the movie side, we have a phone number 1-414-600-7049. You guys can call that number. You can text that number. Leave us a message. Let us know what you like. Let us know what you don't like. Let us know how you feel about Ricochet. I feel like we already have the answer to that, but you guys get the drill. Go check out everything that the Realm is doing. And thank you for listening. We appreciate you guys.
We really do. And until next time, guys, I'm going back on my take. Hacksaw Jim Duggan, overrated. Sorry,
Sorry,
guys.
Hacksaw. Ho!
Sorry, that's a little
Yeah.
Survivor Series 1990
Yep. I think
camp.
this will be a nice little palate cleanser for us. God bless Liv Morgan for coming in and saving storytelling, at least for the Judgment Day stuff that you and I talked about a while ago. Man, she wants to be MVP again. But now we're getting off track, Will. All right. Dude, this WrestleMania hoodie, and it says Las Vegas on the back and stuff, 16.99 on Fanatics. The
This one.
hat from WrestleMania, 7.99.
Oh, I would love that though. Oh
Oh,
gosh.
he'd be so mad.
Oh, he
Oh
would
my
be.
God. Eh,
But
screw Ricochet.